That was beautiful. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, good morning. I'm Reverend Karen Brammer, always honored and happy to be here and to see you. We are here as people who support Unitarian Universalism, which is really another way of saying that we support the love that is central in life, and that we support the desire and the passion and the will to help one another. And so you are welcome, no matter how you define your past, your present, or what you claim for the future, no matter how you understand yourself. You are welcome, and we hope that each day you come, you bring who you authentically are and can be present so we can know who you are and you can know the rest of us. And so we welcome you, all of us, in all the languages. And so I am inviting announcements first, and I know that Jack has an announcement. Does anyone else have an announcement? Okay, so Jack, oh, excuse me, Jeff, I'm sorry. If you do yours first, Jeff, Jerry. Yeah, you can tell what kind of day it's going to be. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me move this for just a second here. I come with great news this morning. First off, got a letter yesterday from the New York State Convention of Universalists awarding us $2,500 toward our bicentennial festivities here. And on the subject of the bicentennial, our committee, the task force, has met twice so far. And the first thing we've done is settle on a theme. And the theme for the bicentennial will be UU Utica, 1825 to 2025, building community and advocating for social justice for 200 years. And at our last meeting, we decided that, well, actually, during the meeting, we thought about it, and then afterwards, we conferred and have made arrangements to have a mini concert in October with a very well-known Adirondack folk singer by the name of Dan Bergeron. Dan is also the founding member of the Fredonia UU Fellowship, and he's very active with the Saratoga UU Church. So he's definitely a UUer. And he's going to include in his repertoire songs of community and social justice, and maybe even have a Pete Seeger song or two. And we may also supplement with local artists. I'm thinking maybe somebody that can do a couple of Joan Baez songs, things like that, that are social activist kind of music that we can supplement. So with that, that'll be in October, and because he's a UUer, the first thing he mentioned to us was, do you have a host family that he can stay with overnight? So if anybody thinks they might be able to welcome him overnight, because he's agreed to also perform our service the following morning. Music and part of our Sunday morning, like we've done with Richard Smith, the Thoreau guy, and Freebo and things like that. So kind of bridging that whole concert into the next morning. And you also encourage people who come to your concert to come to service next day, which is a plus. So those are the good news, and I just wanted to share those with you today. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jack Pendrak. As most of you probably know, we're having a potluck today, and I just want to have people get an idea of what we're going to be doing as soon as the service is over, because we're going to be pulling out tables from the middle door back there, and so anybody can help us. The food is going to be in the back, the RE room, all the way in the back. You can start lining up there. The coffee, tea, and desserts are going to be over here. So I just want to let people know we're going to be doing that right at the end of the service. Thank you.
One more announcement. Stephanie. I thought it was me, Stephanie.
Good morning. There will be a brief inclusion team meeting right here in the sanctuary right after the service. Before the potluck, we're going to squeeze it in. We're just going to circle a few chairs before they go around a table right up here in the front directly after the service. Thank you.
For our chalice lighting then, in just a minute, Maria, one more minute. Where is, there you are, come on over.
Good morning. Or what I'll do is just, can I? I just want to make sure you hear me. This is such a beautiful reading. It's by Gretchen Haley. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? We grasp at signs and markers, articles of news and analysts, Facebook memes, forwarded emails, as if the new zodiac capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring our way. As if we could prepare, as if life had ever made any promises of making sense or turning out the way we thought. As if we're not also actors in this still unfolding story. For this hour, we gather to surrender to the mystery, to release ourselves from needing to know, the yearning to have it already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here in our song and our silence, our stories and our sharing, we make space for a new breath, a new healing, a new possibility to take root. That is courage, forged in the fire of our coming together and felt in the spirit that comes alive in the act of faith, that we believe still a new world is possible, that we are creating it already here and now. Let us light this chalice that reflects the fire forged within our community. Thank you.
For our call to worship, we're doing the intergenerational universal greeting. And that starts by going, remember? We are, if anybody else who's young or young at heart wants to come help, we are Unitarian, Universalist, yep. And we have open minds, we have loving hearts and giving hands. And we take care of each other. Whoops, we take care of the earth and each other. Thank you. I want boots like that. Our first hymn is in the gray hymnal, number 44. Number 44. Now, Tammy reminded me that the name of the purple flower underneath all the snow is called a bluette. It's kind of blue, actually. Hence the name, bluette. Bluette. And it is going to come. If you listen carefully, you can hear it coming up out of the ground under all that snow. The bluettes are on their way. Spring will come. Thank you. Please rise in body or spirit, or both.
We sing of sparkling seas, of prairies, valleys, mountains, and stately forest trees. We sing of flashing sunshine and life-bestowing rain, of birds among the branches and springtime come again. We sing the heart courageous, the youthful eager mind. We sing of hopes undaunted, of friendly ways and kind. We sing the roses waiting beneath the deep piled snows. We sing the earth's great splendor, whose beauty round us glows.
Please be seated. Our stewardship team, represented by Paul and, am I right? Both of you are coming up, Paul and Jack, one at a time, whatever you choose. We also want to recognize that both Barbara, who's taking care of her broken leg very well, I'd say, and also Jeff are on that team, but these two are speaking for the team this morning.
Good morning. I'm Jack Pendrak again, and we're kicking off the stewardship campaign today. And I'd like to say that in the 200 years this church has existed, it's always been involved in the great social issues of its time, whether advocating for women's rights to vote, actually, hosting the controversial Father Berrigan, who opposed the Vietnam War. This church hosted him when no other organization in the area dared. We were instrumental, people from our congregation were instrumental in the establishment of Planned Parenthood of the Mohawk Valley, fighting for racial equality, advocating for LGBTQI+ rights. Our congregation has been there. Many years ago, I facilitated the OWL program for middle schoolers. For those of you who don't know, OWL is a UUA-sponsored, age-appropriate sexuality education program. As part of the program, we assembled a panel of gay, lesbian, and bisexual members of the congregation to discuss sexuality and social issues with the young people. During the discussion, I asked one of the panel members if she felt any discomfort or prejudice when she came to this church. Her response was an emphatic no. She said that this was the one place she could come where she felt she was safe and could be herself. I think that is what most of us want of our church, to be a place where everyone who enters can say he, she, they can be themselves. This year, many in our church community, as well as our larger community, are increasingly at risk when considering the current political climate. I think most of us think it is important that our church be here as a place where everyone who enters feels safe, where we can talk about these issues and take action when required. And of course, a place where each feels that they can be themselves. This is the church, the community that we are asked to support in our annual pledge drive.
Hello. All right, so this, I'm not going to make it too long, but I did want to say from a personal standpoint why I give, and I want to say I've never been a member of an organization as welcoming and friendly as this place, and it truly is. Everyone is welcome here, and I've seen it over and over again, seen that happening, and people that come here truly support that statement. So let's keep that feeling alive for generations to come. A couple quick housekeeping kind of items. If you haven't, you should be receiving a letter from the Stewardship Committee in the next few days with a pledge card and some other information. If you don't get one, that means either you haven't pledged or you might be new, may not have joined the church, but of course, we would love to have everyone support this drive, so please don't feel slighted or something if you don't get a letter. And the other thing I need to do is show you where we are right now. Kind of white invitation. Our 2025 pledge goal is 96,000. 39,960 is where we are, and that is with advanced pledging from church leadership. So everybody set an example. We can keep that going. So thank you, everybody that's pledged so far generously. And one last, on not a serious note, Jack and I will be posted at each door to the potluck room. And you have to pledge before you can eat. Just kidding.
You can use the mic and the mic and say that.
Okay. Did anyone not hear me?
Yeah, people on the.
I said, well, Jack and I will be posted on either side of the potluck door, so you have to pledge before you can eat lunch. But that's not serious. Thank you.
I've asked John Camilleri to read these words by David Miller, and I want to give credit also. I often will ask these two who are Soul Matters leaders, the facilitators, Deb and John, if there are readings on a particular topic, and you hit the jackpot this time.
Good morning. As Reverend Karen said, the reading is from David A. Miller. Today, in UU congregations all over the world, people will gather to live into, as best as we can, what we profess about placing love at the center of all we do. What a magnificent challenge. We are currently living in times baiting us not to love. The social and political atmosphere in which we travel insidiously tempts us to find fault, place blame, and point fingers, and increase that which can tear us apart. And yet we practice a faith, often imperfectly because we are, after all, human, but we continue to practice a faith where we are called to answer the question, what is the most loving thing I can do right now? What an astounding challenge. What an unbelievably vital attempt. What an incredibly needed beacon for the future of us all. So we gather here today to support each other in living this mission. May the fire of collective commitment breathe life and love into every one of our congregations and into those who, by the very nature of this calling, have this great and wonderful opportunity to live and to love in these days with so many struggles and so much possibility. May that be so.
The word commitment to me reflects the conviction of the mind and the heart together. And now Jocelyn Eastman, who is your wonderful office administrator, chose a flaming heart for the front of your order of service to represent the fire of commitment, and it's beautiful and compelling. I should also say that because I just had heart surgery 4 months ago, I don't seem to be able to stop talking about it. I will eventually. It is an automatic sense of protectiveness of the heart that happens when one has such invasive surgery. And I had to really think about fire in my heart. And knowing that it's a fire that is in my mind, in my heart, and in my belly helps make it just like the core of me. And I think about the fire being in my belly because, as with many, many people, most people, we feel a hunger when we're disconnected from that sense of commitment or that sense of meaning or sense of purpose, when that fire in the belly is gone, it leaves many of us feeling hunger. I connect to the fire in my belly when I attend to my hungers. Seldom is it hunger for potato chips, although sometimes I do that. Often enough. The hunger that takes hold of me sometimes is a hunger for a deep sense of meaning, a hunger for a bright connection to spirit, a hunger for palpable connection to this astounding planet and its creatures. There is so much that draws us away from that sense of connection. Much of our lives, by necessity, are often filled with business, busyness, sometimes mundane routine, or urgent demands for survival. At other times, we get bogged down, numb or overwhelmed, gripped by anxiety. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? That anxiety can drown hopes and dreams. It can drown intention and direction. And that's one of the reasons it is so important that we learn to see ourselves and help others see themselves with compassion, to support one another, to live with loving care in community. I spoke recently with someone who's dear to me, who is plagued by hatred and rage. Things have not gone his way. I know he has grown a thick shell around himself to protect the wounds that I know are in his heart. I can see this because I have lived through times like these myself, where it is hard to find beauty or believe that most people are caring. He finds places of tenderness for creatures and plants, for sure. He can laugh and love, but he's lost trust. He's lost something dear to him, and the fire in his belly sometimes takes over his love of life as rage. He does not have a community of shared dreams of a better world. He does not speak regularly with people who have a commitment to a better world and caring connection. The fire in his being begins to burn him and burn others. I love and encourage him, and I grieve for his suffering. It is so important to help one another to fuel our lives with care and vision, to intentionally create a vision that weaves elements of the best of who we are now into building our future. But it's so easy to feel lost in a culture that prioritizes consumption and being more powerful than others. When feeling lost or empty, it can make all the difference to have a meaningful connection that nurtures curiosity and care and compassion. And thankfully, that's what we do here. We are a covenantal community, covenantal where we promise to be honest, respectful, and direct with care. That is one of the primary reasons for our being together. Here we deliberately invoke a sense of presence, of acceptance, to invite the energy of meaningful connection, inspired to lift one another up, not to break one another down. We intentionally support one another to return to our vision when we allow it to falter. In Unitarian Universalism, growing meaningful connection and love at the center of community is a core purpose. The search for truth and meaning is another. Nancy Ladd writes of the fire of connection in her. For her, when this connection ignites, she's uplifted again and again to what she calls a muscular resolve and a choice for mutual reality and mutuality rather than isolation and exclusion. Hear the words from Nancy MacDonald Ladd. If God's name is love, then God compels us to resist the fall to violence. We resist that fall by pushing back with muscular resolve against social structures that confine our capacity to care. A universalist God for a tragic era is a fierce and compelling power that grips us by the collar amid our rebellious descent and calls us to choose the will to mutuality all over again. Even when that choice, she continues, is so risky that it could utterly remake us. Nancy MacDonald Ladd. So I wonder if you remember a moment when you felt ignited by love or vision or caring connection. It can be powerful, almost frightening in its power to challenge and change us. And it can glow quietly inside of us. So if this is familiar to you, if you have a memory or a feeling or a thought or an image of a day or a time, even an era when you felt the fire of commitment, lift that into your memory and consider whether you'd like to share it. What ignited you with a sense of meaning, or guided you to love, or compelled you to purposeful action on your own or in concert with others? Can connection to nature wake you and ignite you? Maybe art or science. What is that like for you? When the distractions, addictions, or anxieties quiet, what has truly met the hunger in your belly? Remember, and then if you're willing, share a bit about that. Your words may help someone else here today, and we would be grateful. Would anyone like to speak about when you have felt the fire of commitment in your being? I was just going to say, thank you, Jack. He scratched his nose. Be careful. This is like an auction, you know? If you move, you bought it.
Sure. For me, that actually was when I first came into this church. It was a community that I had been looking for, but only didn't really know I was looking for it till I came in, and so it was coming here. So thank you all.
Yeah, when I remember about 5 years ago, I was chaperoning and took Alex to a youth program in Albany, at the UU in Albany. And the long drive we had there, really got to know them very well. And the program was run by the youth, and it was very, very much made me feel really good, so.
Hi. So after when I woke up in the ICU and my husband and my older sister were with me, I felt the fire of the love and commitment of family and the healing process of their presence with me and gently guiding me through day to day, where I had no idea what was going on. And They kept me centered, and they helped me make a goal for every day I watched the lake. That was my job, and it was in nature, surrounded in love, that I healed over a very long road.
About a month or two ago, I drove to Oneida where I see my chiropractor. And as I drove there, I saw this rather unkempt individual walking beside the road, just close to the intersection of Route 5 and Route 46, right in the center part of Oneida. I went to the chiropractor. I did a little shopping at Walmart. It was about 15 degrees outside. I started driving home, and about a mile from where I'd seen the individual before, he was now on Route 46 walking south toward Stockbridge. I drove by him, and all of a sudden I felt, wow, he could freeze out there. So I went back and picked him up and gave him a ride home to Brookfield.
The daughter and son-in-law of a college friend of mine worked for the USAID in Tanzania. And of course, she's let go. And it devastated my friend, and it's devastated me, and that's why I've come here to maybe work on doing something, because we need to be active.
Thank you. This, by the way, is Fran Jeruzzi. It's her first time with us, and I think everybody knows Paul Hadley. Did you know Paul is a defense attorney? So multiple times a week, Paul is defending the underclass. Ken?
Fire of commitment started for me when I was in college, junior year. I was, had a low number in the draft, so I had Vietnam in my future unless I did, I fulfilled a different plan for myself. And I remember after college, I was fortunate enough to get a teaching job, and I was exempt from service. Now, some people may have a problem with that, but I was opposed to the Vietnam War from the very beginning. And I remember when Nixon was in office, I wrote a letter to the White House complaining about his secret bombing war in Cambodia. And that was the only time in my life I've had my taxes audited, or I was threatened because I wrote that letter. That started my fire, and I haven't given up since. We have, our country has all kinds of ideals, and I'm just crestfallen that peace is not one of our major objectives in the world. And I just worry that today it's going to be worse with Project 2025 and the people who are behind that, because Nixon was just one iteration. What we have today is the fulfillment of a long process toward a change in our way of life, in our system of government. So stay committed, it's a lifetime of effort.
George and Jerry.
Yeah, I was Carol, and I was at the UU Church in Canton, New York for 20 years, and I was the youth group advisor for 8 years, and we had a coming of age program when the kids turned 13, 14, and they would go to UUA headquarters in Boston, and there were always other UU groups. We'd all be together feeding homeless people. They would have programs where we'd babysit the kids of recently incarcerated mothers, where we would make sandwiches and take them throughout the park. And seeing the kids, or they weren't kids, they were youth, get so excited about helping people and being together. Living UU values always gave me the fire of commitment. That's why I did it every year. And it's gave me hope. And that's my story.
I'm Jean Perry. My first memory of having the idea implanted in my mind that we are responsible for working for social justice is when I was a young child, and I remember sitting in the living room, and the TV was on, and they were showing these horrible racists attacking marchers in the South and sicking dogs on them and fire hoses. And my parents, who were always very progressive, very leftist, I can still remember my mother and father saying, "That is horrible. That has to stop in America. This is the most horrible thing." And that's my earliest memory of knowing that I am and will always be responsible for working for social justice. And I've done so starting in high school. I was working on political campaign for Democrats before I could even vote. So.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, I'm George Fogg, and just I was inspired to speak today. Usually I don't like speaking in front of anybody except for recounting the dream from the night before. I could tell my wife, but otherwise I just don't like to talk in front of anybody. But thank you, Ken and Jack. Right, I was like Ken, I had a low draft number. Wasn't sure what to do. I was against the war, but I didn't feel I was ready to become a conscientious objector or have to go through that process. And actually, my father was in World War II, and I sort of saw it as an adventure. I didn't know what would happen. I figured, well, I'll see what happens. And I thought I could, at the least, I could not fire my weapon. I could get through without that. It turned out I was drafted. I didn't have to go to Vietnam, but I was socially committed. I had the fellow that I went to college with was African American. He and I went to the same high school. We got friendly in college, so I was always aware of that, and I kept that feeling throughout my life. But I never really found a place that I felt comfortable with others who had the same commitment, is what it came down to. And then my wife Phyllis, introduced me to the UU Church, and it's a wonderful place, and I'm so glad that I started to come here. So I really feel very very comfortable here and welcome too. So,
Jerry.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, George.
As everybody knows, I'm really deep into the history of this church. It's never been more strongly evident than during my research of the fire of commitment of the people who formed this church. In 1825, maybe 7 or 8 people decided they would form an organization. And then the first minister was a very, very strong advocate of abolition beliefs. We had people involved. Our third minister went on to be one of 8 people to form the National Grange. It's commitment of the people like that impressed me so much. And we're still here 200 years later as a community.
I'm probably not the only one who has goosebumps from all those things that have been said and how courageous you all are for speaking. I think it's important to say also that Unitarian Universalism is liberal in that we find truth wherever truth is to be found, whether that's in art or in science. in the news, in history, in listening to people who have different opinions. That's why we're called liberal. Many, many of us will vote the same way, but we never expect that we all belong to one political party. We never assume that we all believe there's one way to get to beloved community. There are many. And so for those who are not political organizers or demonstrators, there are so many ways for us, as you know, to develop beloved community in all the ways that you care and give to one another and are makers of love and care. And so thank you everyone for speaking. Thank you. We'll be singing a song, but let me first share the words with you for the first time around, but it is on page 1028 in the blue hymn book. You can read along if you'd like. Mary Catherine Morin is currently the chair or the president of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. We are an organization that is on the ground around the world, working in collaboration and partnership, not really intentionally not being the do-gooders, but learning what must be learned from the people on the ground so that we can support what they understand is necessary for the change that they dream of. So Mary Catherine Morin and then Jason Shelton wrote the music. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. And so I'll invite you to rise and sing together or hum or say the words, whatever moves your belly, your heart, your mind.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and free, calling pilgrims still to witness here the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by our courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets within. Then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Would you join me in a moment of prayer, meditation, breathing? As you become aware of your body in your chair, your feet on the floor, take a moment to thank your physical presence for serving you. And each of us in our minds sends an energy of thanks to everyone here for being present in your bodies, in your minds, in your souls. We're here with broken hearts, and we are here with love. We are here with belief and vision and care. We are here with gratitude. And now we take a moment, in whatever way you express your gratitude, whether that be to God or Goddess, whether that be to the universal life force, whether that be to the spirit of community or clear mind. However you understand your connection to what is the source, please take a moment to express your gratitude and renew your sense of commitment to that source and to its purpose. May it be so for us all, in the name of all that is holy and in all the holy names. Blessed be and amen. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to commit to this place again and to these people and the commitment to increase love and justice in the world. It is as much a ritual as singing together, eating together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. And so we pause to collect this morning's offering. The world aches, says D. Scott Cooper. The world aches for us to join together and bring about healing, to toil for justice, and produce ever-increasing love. This is our calling. Go forth and act in the spirit of that commitment. May it be so. Blessed be. And would you say with me our words for extinguishing our chalice?